Welcome to LabMist.com and our lab video series on Cisco SD-WAN. This is Mehta, your instructor for this video series. For a complete list of SD-WAN videos, you can visit our website under the routing switching section. There you can also sign up for our newsletters to receive the latest video updates. One of the things that you can almost guarantee that you will need to do as part of the maintenance of your SD-WAN deployment is software upgrade. In this video, we are going to walk you through the process of upgrading all of the components in your SD-WAN deployment, and these includes all of the controllers as well as the WAN edge devices, which we do have different models in our labs. If you've been watching our lab video series in SD-WAN, hopefully you're already familiar with our lab topology, but let's go over that very quickly so we know what components we're dealing with. We have three controllers sitting in our simulated cloud. There's a VH, VBON, and vSmart, and these are their corresponding IP, 11, 12, and 13 on the subnet of 110/24. From the WAN edge devices perspective, we have three different types of WAN edge. We have ISR 4K, two of which are located at our headquarters site, HQR1 and R2. We also have two more ISR 4K located at site 101. Site 102, we have a VH Cloud, which is the VM version of the VH router. And then Site 103, we have the VH1000, which is the physical router. At the headquarters, we have a Windows 2012 domain controller, and that's where we're going to be pushing the upgrade file from to vmanage, and the IP of the server is 172.16.32.40. We use that as our RDP jump host in order to access pretty much everything in our lab. The Windows server is accessing the internet through our HQ site firewall, Firewall 1. There we have a core switch that performs all the switching and routing without the VLANs, necessary VLAN configure on them. Right now, all of our WAN edge devices are participating in the SD-WAN overlay over the internet transport, at least the one that has internet connection or access. The MPLS transport is not really completed, so it's not really set up for carrying data traffic at this point. So everything as far as connectivity between the sites are being done over the internet transport. And the goal of this lab is to upgrade our SD-WAN components. The most important things when it comes to upgrading Cisco SD-WAN is checking for version compatibilities of all of the components. All the controllers and VH devices usually run the same version number, like the one that we have all set up here is 18.3. And I guess I can log into BR3, which is VH1000. And you can do show version. You can see it's 18.3.0 right now, which should match the version of vmanage. Let me SSH to that. Okay, also 18.3 right there. I guess the other place to review it is under software upgrade. And here, for each of the component, it will list out the current version. I guess we could have shown you that too. That's for the VH, BR2, and 3, and then switch over to the controller. vSmart, VBON, 18.3, and then vmanage is also 18.3. But with the introduction to support the iOS XE devices, iOS XE actually runs a completely different version number. And here we have, I guess once again, going back to 4 ISR 4K that we have in our lab, they're all currently running version 16.9.1. You can see the differences in the numbering there. So if you have the iOS XE in your deployment, you need to make sure that they are compatible with the controller's version by consulting the release notes. For controllers and VH devices, ideally you would want them to run the same software version, but there might be a situation where you want to stay on the same version of the VH while upgrading the controllers, and in that case, also make sure that the newer controller versions are backward compatible and supports the older VH version. For us here, we are going to upgrade from 18.3.0 to 18.3.1, which is one version, a minor version newer. And then from the iOS XE perspective, we're upgrading from 16.9.1 to 16.9.2. All right, both of which are the first mainnet release of their respective version. Even though this is not a major version upgrade, the process should be the same if you were to go with the major upgrade. When upgrading, you also want to start on vManage and then make your way to other controllers first. Once all the controllers are upgraded, then you can move on to the WAN Edge. Just like any other system, before you perform an upgrade, you would want to do a server configuration backup. Since it's a VM, you have an option to either take a snapshot or back up the virtual disk of the vManage, because it's where all the configurations are located. Remember that there's a second 100 gig disk that we manually added during the vManage VM installation. That disk contains all of your configurations, so you definitely do not want to lose it. Right? So I would recommend you do a periodic backup of that disk. But if you ask me, I would do both. Hopefully you already have periodic disk backup schedule, right, for the second disk. So you just need to take snapshot of the VM for a quick recovery if you need to, just right before you perform the upgrade, right? If anything happens, then just revert the snapshot. But still, the backup of the local disk, that would be good for a disaster recovery. Then you need to download the upgrade files, which you can locate and find on the cisco.com, and I can show you right here. If you go to the download page, software defined WAN, SD-WAN software update, select the version that you want, and you can see the upgrade file. This one's for vManage. It's about a gig for this version, and then this one is for the vSmart, vEdge Cloud, and vBond, all in one file right there. That's about 200 meg. For the physical vEdge router, you can go back and find, once it loads here, and select the vEdge router. vEdge router model. It looks like it's just the same file for all the model that listed right here. 18.3.1, that's a different file. Okay, so you got 3 files that you need. Well, this one only if you have the vEdge router. And then for the iOS XE, then you go to the XE SD-WAN. We have the ISR4000. Here's our 16.9.2, and it's just a .bin. It's not really an upgrade file, but it's just a regular .bin file. Here we have downloaded the 3 files for the vManage, the vBond, vSmart, vEdge Cloud, and the physical vEdge router. And then we have the 16.9.2 file right here for our iOS XE device. All right, so we've got all the files that we need downloaded. Next, you need to go to the maintenance software repository. You have options to either upload these files to vManage or have it point to some remote file repository for the device to pull the image. If you decide to upload to vManage, it is a good idea to clean out some old images, if any, to free up some space. Okay, which is this page right here. You have an option to delete it. Let's go ahead and upload all of the images that we're going to use as part of our upgrade. Right here, you can choose vManage or remote server. We're going to use vManage, and all we need to do is just drag and drop. Start with the 16.9.2. Okay, so that's 1, and then this 3 right here. Let's see if we can grab them all. There you go. Upload, and it's on its way. Looks like 3 of the files are done. We're down to the last one, which is the biggest one, the 1 gig file. But it shouldn't be too far behind. Once uploaded, we're going to have to wait for the server to finish processing the file. There you go. So we've got 18.3.1. and there are 1, 2, 3 files in there. So it's being listed by the unique software version. Then we got the 1692 right here. We can now go ahead and proceed with the upgrade of our controller, starting with vManage. You go under the maintenance software upgrade. The first thing you probably want to do is to delete any available versions on the device in order to free up some space, otherwise the upgrade may fail. And especially if you have done some upgrades in the past, there might be the old version listed under here as far as available version. You just need to check this checkbox and then delete the available version of software. Okay, so this column right here should be blank like this. Let's go ahead and upgrade. Where's our vManage? Actually, controller. Or vManage. Click upgrade and then select the version that's available, 18.3.1 that we want. We're doing it from vManage. Click upgrade. That's going to be a task. You just have to wait. In progress. Prepare to download. And there we've got the download counter. Looks like it went by pretty quick installing the software. And done. Software install. Once it's installed, you can go back. Next thing you need to do is set a default version, because right now the default is 18.3.0 right here. So we're going to set the default and point that to 18.3.1. Go ahead, set default. That's another task. Okay, and success. And that's the last step. You need to activate it. Now that the default version is pointed at, I guess the default version setting is pretty much similar to you doing like a boot system command on like a router, right? To tell the server which software to boot from. Now we need to activate it, which will cause the reload of the server. Reload, activate this version. Go ahead, click activate. And there you go. The server is going into a reboot. And that's going to take a few minutes also, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. The vManage is back up from the reboot. Let's log back in and see if the new version is already in place. Go to Software Upgrade, vManage, and as you can see, the current version now is 18.3.1. If you have a cluster of vManage, then you definitely want to go around and then upgrade the entire cluster first before moving on to the next controller, and for us is vBON. We're going to go ahead and do the exact same thing. The steps, as you will see, is very identical, and you might see this very repeating process. vBON, go ahead and upgrade. In fact, you know what? I'm going to do both because technically you can do it in parallel. Obviously, you probably don't want to do this in production though. Just do one at a time, but just to save us sometimes you're not having to do it one by one, we're going to do them in parallel. All right, go ahead and click upgrade. Select the version, upgrade. Prepare to download. That's for the vBON. So it looks like, interesting enough, if you're trying to do them in parallel, the system knows that it's supposed to do vBON before vSmart. As you can see, the message here is waiting for vBON to complete. So I might not be doing this in parallel after all. But at least we don't have to click through this multiple times. Just do it once and let the system figure out the order of upgrades. All right, you can see as soon as the vBON is done, vSmart kicks in and start the download. Install the software, and done. Go back, set the default version from 18.3 to 18.3.1. Okay, done. And finally activate them. Here, default version is set. Go ahead and activate, select the version. Changing partition, schedule. So you can see it looks like that the devices have two partitions. One is for the active image and one is for like a backup or standby image. And you have an ability to upload a new image. It will take place of the backup, and the activate will basically switch it over by basically changing the partition. VBON is going to reboot right now, and yep, same thing here. vSmart is waiting for VBON to complete this. So the system knows that this is the correct order of operation for the upgrade. Nothing much to look at here, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video. All right, so it didn't take long at all for both of the VBON and vSmart to be upgraded. It certainly didn't take as long as the vManage. With the status of success, we can go back to the software upgrade page and make sure that, yep, they've been upgraded, and the current version is 18.3.1. At this point, we have completed our controller upgrades. Now we're going to move on to a WAN Edge devices upgrade. The first thing you're probably going to do, assuming that you have the ZTP software enforcement enabled like we do under the administration and setting. If you use ZTP right here, you need to update this to point to the version of the software that you're about to upgrade the WAN Edge device to. Otherwise, the GUI might complain and you will end up coming back here to do this. Anyway, for us it's 18.1. Right, because if you don't change this, then there's a chance that the new device will come in and obviously grab the wrong software, right? Because you want it to be in the latest version. So do this first. 18.3.1. We didn't have anything or any other devices enabled. I mean, we could have like this guy right here, 16.9.2, and I think that's the VH Cloud. Right, I'm going to keep that turned off. Save. We're going to start by upgrading the remote site devices first. Yeah, I would say always perform the far end upgrade first. And that would be the Site 101 with the RS0447. We'll start with that, and then we'll work our way down to the VH Cloud and VH1000. Select. Let me see if I find the device name right there, BR11 and 12. Same process, click Upgrade, select 16.9.2 on our iOS XE device, click Upgrade, and we can also monitor that from the console as well if we want. It's now gone through the download on BR11, and you can see some activity here as well on the router itself. It looks like it's downloading the package, and you can note the URL. It's pointing to vManage 255.11, and that's the image that it's downloading, right, to the device 101. I suspect that the BR12 download might take a while though, because BR11 has direct access to the internet, so it takes the shortest path to pull the image down. But BR12 does not have direct internet access, so it might have to go a roundabout way over MPLS and then exit the firewall to get to vManage. We'll see what happened. Start the install of the software. And you can see the message here as well, started install, add boot flash. So it seems like I downloaded that image and deposited it in the boot flash, and now it's installing it. I technically do not have to wait for this. I guess we can always come back and check the status. We're just going to let that run and proceed with the upgrade for the other two remote site routers, which is the VH Cloud and VH1000. Let me go back. Select BR2, might as well just do both. and BR3, click Upgrade. And you can see even though it's a different type of platform, it gives you an option to assign the version you want to each platform type. So do that 18.3.1 for both, and upgrade. Okay, so we'll have that launch as well. Looks like this guy's complaining about no space on the boot flash. And that's one of the reasons why you want to clean out the old images on the device. We got the installation complete message on this. Maybe I'll switch over to the other task, the first one. Yep, right there. The installation is done on BR11. Yep, so while our remote site router's upgrading, we cannot certainly touch the routers and the HQ. I guess you can for... Yeah, I guess that shouldn't matter because it pulls image directly. And it doesn't really rely on the router at the HQ to provide the connectivity to get the image and upgrade. But just to be safe, we're going to wait until all the remote sites are done, and then we'll do the 2XR 4K at the HQ. Now, BR12 is downloading the software. That's the one I'm afraid it might be a little slow. Let's go back and check the other task. Okay, these guys are downloading, although surprisingly it's not very fast at all, even though it should have the right access to vManage. Yep, that one's downloading. Again, not much to look at, so I'm going to go ahead and pause the video here. The BR3 is done downloading the software. It looks like BR2 is getting there. It's sitting at 80-something%. While, let me go back to the first task that we kind of left it running. Looks like, yeah, as I expected, the BR12 is really slow downloading right now. So we're just going to let that run on the background. Let me go back to the software upgrade. I'm just going to go ahead and set the default. As you can see, when it's done downloading the new image, you will see the available version showed up right here. Now we just need to set the default version for those two devices. 16.9.2 for the iOS XE and 18.3.1 for the vEdge. Success, which means we can go ahead and activate those two. Default version, checkbox, checkbox, and activate. All right, and that's going to go ahead and reboot those two devices, which we can monitor from back here. BR11 is right there, and BR3 is right there. Yep, rebooting the device. So while those two devices are rebooting, I'm going to go ahead and download the software to R1 and R2 at the headquarters. As long as we don't activate them, they shouldn't take it down. All right, then lose connectivity. We're just going to basically download the software to the backup partition there. HQ R1, HQ R2, upgrade, 16.9.2. Let's see if those two will go a little faster. Because we did BR11 and that one downloaded fairly quickly. Okay, BR11 is going to the activate the package right now. And looks like I have lost the console because it's rebooting. Yep. BR3 has also gone into reload. Yep, you can see that one actually goes fairly fast. It's interesting. It's almost like the device is taking turn there. It's not doing the download simultaneously. That's okay, that shouldn't take long. Let's go back and yep, looks like we have a bunch of tasks going right now. The second one, yep, that one's almost there for the BR2 download. 98% should be done shortly. Yep, that one download is done. HQR2 should kick in a second, but HQR2 does not have direct access to the internet, so same thing has to go through this MPLS1 device out to the internet. So we'll see if that one's going to be as slow as the BR12. Okay, looks like the BR2 is done downloading. Let me go back to the software upgrade. See if I can see that. Yep, BR2 is done. So let me set default version 18.3.1. Yeah, it looks like this guy's taking a while there. Maybe it's waiting for the other task to complete. Not sure why just setting the default image takes that long. Let's go back to the first one. Yeah, we're not even close on that guy. If the router is going to reboot, looks like BR3 is back up. We can quickly log in and do a show over. And it's been upgraded to 18.3.1. BR11 is still in the process of rebooting, but you can see it already picked up 16.9.2. So that one, it's just a matter of time before it will complete. And yep, HQR1 finished the software download, and HQR2 is doing it now. Looks like setting the default image for BR2 is done. So now I can activate it. Activate. Changing partition, schedule, and now it's rebooting BR2. Okay, BR11 is back up. It's funny how it lost the prompt there, but that could be the config is not in place yet while it's still booting up, so I have to give it some time. There you go, we got some loopbacks, some tunnels, and there you go, we got BR11 prompt back. Yeah, I suspect this guy and this guy is going to take quite a long time. I wonder if this router right here is a choke point. So it could be a router performance thing, because that's, to be honest, it's just the CSR router that I have in the VM. So it could be it's throttling the download speed right now because none of these two routers have direct access to the vManage. Let me go ahead and activate, or actually set the default image first for HQR1. There, set default software 16.9.2. Okay, BR11 has the connection to vSmart back, and it should be back on SD WAN overlay. Let's go back to our diagram real quick and do a quick check. So that's upgraded as well as that. BR11's upgraded, BR3 is upgraded, BR2 is in the reboot right now, and HQR1 we are setting the default value, and that's just complete. Let's go ahead and activate HQR1. 16.9.2 activate. I'm probably not going to wait until these two guys to finish because that can take a long time. I'm just going to go ahead and finish HQR1 and BR2, and then we'll just call that. Okay, so HQR1 over here is going to reboot in a second. There you go, activate boot flash, Same thing, we've seen that already on BR11. Alright, so let me go and pause the video one more time while these two guys right here is rebooting. Alright, at this point, our HQR1, which is this guy right there, and BR2 have already come back up, and we can go and check the software image. Like I said, we're not going to worry about these two routers right there. It's still downloading the code actually. You can see BR11, it's upgraded 1692. BR2 it's 1831, BR3 is 1831, and HQR1 is 1692. I'm just going to take care of these two routers right here offline and make sure that they are upgraded before we start the next lab. Alright, as you can see, upgrading SD-WAN devices are not difficult, it's just time consuming, especially if your devices are located on the other side of WAN and you have to push the image across it, and it depends on your bandwidth utilizations and how much WAN speed that you have. Again, always do the controller first. If you have cluster of controllers, then do one cluster at a time. And make sure that you give plenty of time to upgrade your WAN edge devices. But you can also do what we do here, which is pushing out the image first, and that should be non-intrusive. And later on, after hours, you can activate it, which will force the device to reboot. And that wraps up our video on SD-WAN upgrade. You can visit our website to view an extensive list of our lab videos and sign up to get access to additional lab contents. Thank you for watching LabMinutes.com, and I'll see you guys in the next video.